Hi everyone, and welcome to this information update call. What's the call all about? Well, first of all, let's get the elephant in the room right out of the room, okay? And that is why the STO didn't launch on the 15th of October. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about why are we actually stopping doing what we're doing at the moment and what impact that has on us as a membership. We're going to speak about the portfolio, and I'm going to bring in Rod to talk about one of the projects within that global portfolio. And then I'm going to introduce Roy to you, who's also going to explain to you. Obviously, he was just as disappointed as everybody else about the 15, but when he's actually looked at it, what he's got to say, I think, will open your eyes a little bit. Okay, so why didn't that STO launch? Well, there was a couple of reasons for that, but the main reason was when they initially started to talk about the launch of this STO, in the back office, it always stated it was between October and March. Okay, now then, because of a number of reasons, and probably because the company wanted it to start as early as possible, and because we know that the company, under promise and over deliver, and that what they say always happens, is they really felt that the launch was going to be sooner rather than the later. Now, the STO has been took out of our hands in some respects, because we've had to have another company based in Switzerland who deal with STOs and get them launched and set up exchanges and things like that. So in a lot of ways, everything was taken out of our hands. Now, during the process, the SEC, who are going to be the regulators, and it's important we get that regulation, because that regulation is A+, and that's the highest regulation that you can get. So because the SEC have basically decided that they need more information, not just from us, but from anybody else who's submitting an application for the STOs, then that was going to cause a delay. Now, they did know just before the 15th that was going to happen. However, there was another plan in place, because you can put a token, a securitized token, on an exchange without it being regulated. But the power of the regulation would draw in your financial institutions and your big investors. That's not saying that putting it on a normal exchange would not attract huge investment. It will, but it's just having that A+ that the company wanted. However, the option was they could put it on an exchange. However, if they was going to put it on exchange, then they were told that they would have to hand over the database of 750,000 people and some of the financial control. And I think we all agree that, and Andre took the decision, that that is certainly not in the best interest of the company, and certainly not in the best interest of the membership. So the decision was made at that point that we would just continue and wait for the STO to get that regulation. Okay, so that is the main reason. Now, like everybody else, myself, Rod, Roy, Ron, everybody, and probably yourselves, were disappointed that that didn't happen. Okay, but then when I sat back and I looked at it and I thought to myself, well, hang on a minute, what's changed? Nothing's changed. Okay, one thing we speak about all the time is that the company do like to have that control. They don't want to give it away to the financial institutions. They don't want to give it away to other people. So we've spoke about why it was in the best interest not to take that decision for the STO. And we always say that when they talk about something happening, it happens. But in this instance, if you think about it, when I actually thought about it, I thought, well, actually, it's been taken out of their hands, because it's all in the hands of the SEC. We have to wait. And if they ask for more information, we've got to provide that information. This is very, very powerful regulation that we're going for. You know, the SEC are probably one of the hardest regulators to actually get anything through in any, you know, any type of investment. So it was important that I realised that that control had been actually taken away from us. And then I had another look. I thought, well, actually, what was going to happen on the 15th? What was I actually going to do on the 15th? And I thought, well, actually, I wasn't going to do anything, because I certainly wasn't going to be cashing in my securitized token, because when they go on to that exchange, they may go on, we don't know the price, but say they went on 10, 20, 30 cents. Okay. I was never, ever going to sell them at that stage, because we know the power that this portfolio has. And as a financial advisor in my past life, when I originally saw that portfolio, and I actually saw what was in it and all the different asset classes that portfolio consists of, it blew me away, because there's not many financial institutions out there that would actually give that sort of diversity that we have in our portfolio. When we look at our portfolio, it's made up of different sectors. We've got property, we've got land, we've got traditional stocks and shares, we've got traditional financial instruments, we've got precious metals, we've got diamonds, we've got gold, we've got real estate, we've got science sector, culture sector. We've got a whole array of things in there that are boosting that portfolio. Okay, and we've got things that are set there for the short term, for the medium term, and for the long term. And when we look at the portfolio and we actually look at how it started off, you know, just short of 5 years ago, it started off with $26,000. Today, it's in excess of $100 million. Now, as we all know, the first project that the company ever did was with Skyway, and that's the technology part. Excuse me, our portfolio is made up of all these sectors, and this Skyway sector did form a massive part of our portfolio. But as the portfolio is growing and they're diversifying into even more sectors, then that share is going less. However, what is not going less is the amount of shares that were actually purchased along the way in the portfolio, and that is around 1.4 billion shares. So when I'm giving figures to everyone, I'm not including the 1.4 billion shares, because at this moment in time, because Skyway hasn't actually been realised and hasn't actually launched on the exchanges just yet, okay, that isn't included in the value of the portfolio. So when that does, and it goes onto the London Stock Exchange at a minimum of $1, our portfolio will immediately increase by 1.4 billion. So I'll just say that again. When that does happen, and that could be in the next 12 months, 18 months, 2 years, we're not sure, but when it does happen, it's going to increase by 1.4 billion. That's just one sector alone. The other things that we've actually got in that portfolio are the gold. And we all know that gold, when times are bad, when there's, you know, the world's suffering from financial crisis, that gold is the thing that everybody goes for. You know, we've got different ways of getting that gold, and we've got 3 different ways. We've got the taking it out of the ground, we've got the production, we've got the trading of it so we can sell it. And they're talking about 20 tons. One of the agreements is 20 tons of gold will be pulled out, and that is in our portfolio for us to sell. Okay, so you can imagine what, if you work out the cost of 20 tons of gold, how that is going to increase the portfolio as well. We've got traditional stocks and shares like the Amazon, the main ones, Microsoft, Amazon, Visa, MasterCard, traditional type financial instruments. Okay, those traditional type financial instruments don't pay a massive amount every month, but they pay an amount, and they plan to build that up because that is an amount which is like a guaranteed amount coming into the company, because the way that the portfolio is structured is really, really clever. Okay, and a bit later on, Roy's going to speak to you about that as well. We've also got the film industry in there. We've got Marvel. Marvel's going to be huge in Asia because this is Marvel for Asia. And when I was in India, some of you may have been there as well, or you might have seen it on some videos, we actually met the first character, and they plan to do about 20 films. Now, when the money starts coming in from that, from the production, from the sales from the box office, that's going to be huge, and that's going in our portfolio. We've got the chain of restaurants that we bought out, the Sushi Master restaurants, sorry, not what we bought out, but where we own a good share in those as well. And we actually do own some restaurants that they've purchased to put into the portfolio. We've got traditional type companies in there, ones that you've probably heard of. We've got Chewy.com, it's an online sells dog products. You know, we've got Fiverr, again, something that you may have heard of. There's a whole array, and to be perfectly honest, there's that many things in here. I can't mention them on a short call, that like what we're trying to do for you today. But what I would suggest that you do is the last presentation that was done by the company a couple of weeks ago. That, if you get your hands on that video, that goes through every single bit of our portfolio, and even to the point of how much we've spent in there, what we've had coming in, what it's worth. So it's very, very transparent, and I suggest that people do look at that. Okay, now one of the other things that are in there we're all really excited about, and at this stage I'd like to bring Rod in just to explain to you a little bit about this project that they've actually got involved in the 50% ownership in. So could I ask you to speak, Rod?
You certainly can, Gail. Thank you very much for that. That was smashing. Basalt, yes. We believe this is the black gold of the company. It contains magnesium from the cooling of magma. Now, it can be used in many industries, including the textile industry, and the basis for the manufacture of composite materials and structural plastics based on epoxy, polyester, and other resins, fire protection, sound and thermal insulation of various structures as a shell for thermal insulation materials, etc. More so in the constructional industry, these materials can be used for building, the reinforcements in modern building materials, widely known through many parts of the world, and the number of advantages over metal reinforcements. Metal is heavy. Another very exciting part of this product is the aircraft and the car manufacturing industry. It's very promising material, most promising in the auto industry. These materials include continuous basalt filters, composite materials, reinforced BV heat and sound insulation materials, anti-corrosion and protective coatings. Another big industry that obviously that could be attached to it is the chemical industry. The chemical and petrochemical industry, production of chemical resistant pipes, protective coatings, non-combustible composite materials, MBV filters for the cleaning of gases from dust and industrial effluents. The advantages of basalts. Basalt characteristics are ecological, durable, non-corrosion, incombustibility, non-explosive, dielectric, radiotransparent, conductive, high coefficient of thermal expansion, alkali and acid resistant, And I think more so, the most important thing is the weight. It's 5 times lighter than any similar metal product. It can also be heated from minus 200 degrees to 700 degrees and even up to 1,000 single time, and that is very important. The cost, it's 10 times cheaper than carbon filters materials, having almost the same characteristics. The strength, 1 to 5 times stronger than fiberglass products. Reinforcement of building materials with basalt fiber increases their breaking strength and tensible strength by 20 to 30%. Hygroscopicity, moisture from the air. Basalt has a low level of hygroscopicity, 6 to 8 times lower than fiberglass. Ecological, natural ingredients without any synthetic additives. So it's ecologically friendly on disposal. The products from basalt, the innovation basalt, technology is a solution-based provider of initiative basalt fiber products. We represent world-class basalt products to markets. And in the description, you've got the composite material from woven fabrics produced by winding large diameter pipes, high pressure cylinder containers for transportation and storage of chemicals, fertilizers and pesticides. And the main advantages are that it's durable, it's non-corrosive, it's ecological, and it's incombustibility. Now, we've been informed that obviously that there is 2 factories going up. I don't know whether the 2 are going up in Poland, in Gdansk, but we do know of 2 that are being erected. And we were told at EcoFest that this will be in production by the March 2020. So we've got a product there which I believe is far, far greater than gold. It's the black gold. This could be worth trillions of pounds in industry. And I'm very excited about it. And anybody in transport, as a transport basis, will understand why we're excited. I also know that at this moment in time, they're already talking to many of the big auto industry people, such as VW, those sort of people. So that it's at a high level. So yes, we're very excited. So I think that more or less concludes there, Gail.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thanks very much for that overview, Rod. That is just one of the things that's in the portfolio. And as Rod's just said, black gold. And believe me, that is black gold. Now, think about it. Have a think what we've got already in our portfolios that could benefit from this technology, from basalt. I can think of one straight away, and that's the Skyway technology. It would be perfect for that. Now, I don't know whether they've actually come to any agreement with Skyway, but all I do know is that Andre is a very, very clever man. Andre connects businesses together to create this internal ecosystem, because that's what he's all about. Okay, when you look at what Skyway is all about and the technology, they have to be built from something. Okay, they might have already decided what it's going to be built of, but they can use the products of basalt in that portfolio. So we already have probably in there a customer. Okay, as Rod said, it's already been spoken about that they will be speaking, and they have already spoken to the car industry, the aviation industry, because this product is going to be perfect for that. And it's not that, it's quite a new technology as well in the scheme of things. Okay, it's been there for years. It's derived from the volcanic rock and that, and it's a natural product, and it's a product that is going to help with the ongoing eco problem that we've got as well. So, you know, everything in our portfolio is geared to help people. Now, one of the things that we've also spoke about is also how, going back to what we was talking about in the very beginning, let's sort of go back to that a little bit. We spoke about what's changed from that token not launching. Well, we know what's changed. It didn't launch on the stock exchange. But what's not changed in any way, shape, or form is the fantastic portfolio that is there. We've still got the ability to share this with people. That's not stopped. We can still bring people into this to build up the membership, because one of the things that you know, people may have sort of looked at is, well, why was our loyalty bonus this month less than the month before? Because what's been happening is that portfolio has been going, loyalty bonus has been going up and up and up. Well, first of all, the loyalty bonus payment is based upon the money coming into the company. Okay. The profit bonus that we've just started to receive is based on the growth of the portfolio. So let's go back to the loyalty bonus payment, because the loyalty bonus payment is the one that was less this month. People stopped sharing this with people probably the week before Evente, which was round about the 11, 12, 13. So really the beginning of October, you know, people had slowed down, not stopped. Let's not use the word stop, because they hadn't stopped, but people had slowed down in sharing this with people. So less money was coming in, and we use a portion of that for the compensation plan. Okay, so that impacted on what we was getting. So we actually have the control in our hands to make sure that our loyalty bonus payment every month is up there and is increasing, whilst we wait for it to go onto the exchange. Now, once it does go onto the exchange, then it will just skyrocket, because believe me, the financial institutions out there are looking for something like this in their portfolios. They haven't got things like this in their portfolio. Believe me, I mean, the profit that this can make for companies within their portfolios would be absolutely huge, and it's something that that financial institutions, financial advisors are going to grab onto, as well as the general public and normal people who actually and the traders who actually trade in different tokens, stocks and shares. So I'm not going to go on too much longer now, but what I'm going to do is, and I'm going to introduce somebody to you, Roy. Now, Roy, like everybody else, was disappointed on the 15th, and I'd like to bring you in, Roy, now, just to explain to everybody what you see, what we've actually got here in SWIG.
Okay, hi, thanks, Gail, and well done on giving us all the reasons, and fantastic effort, Rod, on telling us how Basalt is going to increase and value the portfolio across the world. Now, like probably most of you, I was really disappointed when the 15th of October came, and it didn't really visualize, because I'd sort of made my own mental plans and I was hoping to do certain things, and it didn't transport into what I wanted it to be. But having sat back and evaluated what's gone on since then, and it's become obvious to me that the opportunity that we now have is really exciting. When you've got something exciting, though, the one thing that we have to do is put energy into it. And I'm going to try and get over to you in a few short minutes why we should put energy into the rest of the time scale that we've got left to us before we actually value and the STO gets launched. And I'm going to give you a date. Now, don't put a pencil dot around this date, because it's a guess date, but we're anticipating, let's say, at the end of March. So that gives us 4 months to do what? Well, it gives us 4 months that we wouldn't have had if it had have launched on the 15th of October. So what we've got now It's a real exciting time with an ever expanding portfolio. And I'm just going to highlight one thing that Gail has said twice, but I'm going to just put it in a third time because I want you to realise the importance of this portfolio. It's gone from 26,000 to in excess of 100 million in about 5 years. But that doesn't include, as Gail so aptly told us, the value of Skyway when it launches. And when you're talking of something over $1 billion and what that's going to do to the value of the portfolio and what it's going to help do to the value of the token is immense. And I want to get that into your mind so that you can realize that the wait is really an opportunity now for you to get hold in your minds what we've exactly got and what you can make between now and the end of March is really down to you. Now, I'm just going to step to one side a little bit and open your eyes about something that's really important because, and this all stems really from what our CEO, Andre Harato, is doing because believe me, this man is a really smart man. He's not only got his mind around increasing a portfolio and investment, this man knows what's happening in the world. He knows the trends of the world, and he's making sure that whatever happens in the world, we and our portfolio and the value of the token doesn't get affected. But if it does get affected, it will only be affected in a way that it will increase the value of the token. Now, let me explain why. Now, some of what I'm going to tell you is going to be quite strange, and you might not have heard, but believe me, it's true. And people who've been involved in world finance for a long time understand these matters. Now, if I said to you, for the people in the UK, and I asked you a question and said, who do you think owns the Bank of England? You'd probably tell me the government or whatever. But it would be on those lines that you'd tell me. And if I asked the American public, who own the Federal Reserve, they'd probably say, well, likewise, the government. Well, unfortunately, that's not true. Now, who do you think owns if the government don't? Well, it's a family of Jews, and this is the main family. There are other families involved, but the main family are the Rothschilds. And if I told you that they're worth in excess of $500 trillion, that's almost obscene money. And how have they made that money? Well, you're always aware, both in America, in our country, in the UK, and in every country, there is a centralised bank. Probably in 95% of the countries in the world, there is a centralised bank, similar to the Bank of England, the Federal Reserve, owned by the Rothschilds. And why do they own these banks? Let me tell you why, because this is really, really important. Now, when a government wants money, they tend to go, in the UK case, to the Bank of England, in America, the Federal Reserve. And so the Federal Reserve say, yeah, we'll lend you some money. So the Bank of England or the Federal Reserve, what they do, they get their printing presses operating and they produce notes. Now it costs them paper and ink to produce those notes. So let's just say they give a country $1 billion or £1 billion. It only costs them the paper and the ink to produce. But the country then gets that injection of cash, but they then owe that payment back, that $1 billion or £1 billion, back to the central bank. Not only do they owe the capital sum, they owe a horrendous amount of interest. Now, when you look at the world in general, pretty much every country, if it was run as a business, would be bankrupt. And what does that mean to you as an individual? Because if the country's bankrupt, it doesn't give much for your stability. And because now that paper money is now classed as debt money, it means that it doesn't have an intrinsic value anymore. Many years ago, it used to be backed by gold. And so it did have a value. Now it has no value whatsoever. And we all know, or the people in the know are aware, that sooner or later, paper money is going to lose its value. And the idea behind every fiat currency that eventually it will be valued exactly what it is worth, which is zero. So can you imagine if you've got savings or in anticipation of a pension and it's all based on paper money, what's going to happen to your future? It's dire. Now, let's give you the good news. If you look at what Gail has been talking to you about, she's been giving you the bones of what the portfolio is. And because Andre Horato really knows what's going to happen in the future, he is gearing our portfolio for safety. Now, if you look at your high street and you look at any facts and figures given on the ATM machines in the UK, I can only comment on knowledge in the UK. Every week, ATM machines are closing. So that means that they're taking you gradually so that you aren't even aware of what's happening into a cashless society. Now, what does that mean, a cashless society? Now, if you go and draw money out of the ATM, nobody really knows what you do with that cash. So if you're drawing £200 every day from an ATM, it gives you £1,400 a week that nobody can really trace what happens. But if they stop you taking that money out of the ATM, they can trace every penny that you then spend. So it means that they've got total and complete control over you as an individual and your financial status and the way you resultantly live your life. What Andre is doing for us, he is putting ATMs around the world. Now, what does that mean for you as an individual? Well, these ATMs aren't the normal ATMs that you go to. They're ATMs that really are based around the cryptocurrency, which is not governed by the banks. So what Andre is doing for us as individuals, he is not only going to make us wealthy, he is going to safeguard that wealth and give us access to that wealth full time. So, because what's the point of having wealth if you haven't got access to it? So these ATMs are going to give you the ability to go with a card that undoubtedly the company will provide us with, and we will be the envy of everybody when the financial crisis hits, because it won't affect us. Because when you have money, you make money in financial hardship times. So although I've deviated a little bit to explain some important principles, I've only done it to give you the way that the company is moving and protecting you. Now, years ago, money used to be protected by gold. Now, if you look, we've not only put gold in place, we're mining gold, not just buying gold. We're mining diamonds, two of the things that main investors are putting their money in even now to protect from the deflation that's happening. So what a clever move. Not just, people have just said, oh yeah, we're buying gold mines. No, it's more than just buying gold mines and buying diamond mines. It's about protection of what we have. So when you look at our portfolio, and I think personally, the way that he's moving with this portfolio, we've only touched, it's like the iceberg that sank the Titanic. Only 10% of it was visible above the ground. And what Andre is doing, I think most of it's underground at the moment. It's in his mind and in his plans, and it will come in future fruition. So my advice to you is to really understand what we have in this company. It's different to many of the failures that you've had in the past. So don't get bogged down and frightened with all these failures that most of us have dipped our toes, our fingers, our elbows in and lost money and got a bit deflated with the process. This is totally different. This is real, it's tangible, and it really is protecting your future. Now, your future is still down to you. You have to get in, work, and make it happen. But we have things that have come into the group at the moment that really will help you. We've been involved with somebody from South Africa called Leon. And Leon is bringing a professionalism to the way we present the business that will make it so much easier for all of us to get the message over, take us out of the scene, and let the information do the work. So that's for a future time. When I say a future, I don't mean months, I mean weeks away. So what I've tried to get over to you is I've gone from the disappointment of the 15th of October to really sit back, evaluate where we're going, what we have, and the major opportunity that we still have to share until the end of March, something that is so special, we'd be foolish not to take advantage of it. I hope in those few short minutes I've got over the essence of where this company is going, how it not only will help you to gain wealth, it will help you to secure it and keep increasing in value, not only in the value of you as a person, but getting passive income from that wealth, which will change and leave a legacy for you, your children, your children's children, forever. Dale, back to you. I hope I've done what I consider justice to what we have going.
Yeah, fantastic. That was a really, really good overview. Certainly an eye-opener for myself and probably for a lot of people who are going to listen to this call at a later date. Just to recap, just before we finish, just to recap what we've talked about. We've obviously talked about the STO. We've had a brief look at what's in the portfolio, and believe me, that is a brief look. We've not gone into it in any detail. You know, there is videos out there that will. Just before I finish, one of the other things I'd just like to touch on, because Roy's just reminded me, is the company has grown massively. In March, when this portfolio was put together, it absolutely boosted and made this company go from a short, say, I think in March, it was something like 19 million, might have been even less, to over 100 million portfolio. Okay, so the company itself, the membership has grown in that time from March till now massively. So what the company's almost outgrown the systems that it had in place to support us, and we all know that there's areas that needed looking at, and that's what's happened. Andre has now set up a council of members, which is more like his directors, and these are made up of the presidents of the company, people who understand, who've been on the training, who understand and have spoken and sat with Andre and understand what's happening. And different areas are going to be improved, like the support, the marketing, the IT. We're going to be getting a new website next year, probably March time, they've talked about. Somebody's going to be responsible, not just Andre for the portfolio and Iger, there's going to be other people involved in it as well. One thing this company do is whenever there is anything going on, is that any internal projects, they always bring members in to do that and use the skills of the membership. So that's to me, that's absolutely fantastic and proof that they want to keep everything in our own ecosystem. You know, great to see that, you know, we are getting marketing materials now, because one of the things you may feel we've been a bit short on is how do we market this? How do we get that out to people? So we're in the process of doing some things as well as the company. So we're going to be producing a short animated video that's nearly ready for people to use as a bit of a taster. Leon Ferrara, who's actually come into, he's actually not in our team, but he's come in and has been a part and done some videos, absolutely fantastic videos, which he's done them from being a couple of minutes, like as a little intro, to 15-minute call, and then we've got our longer calls that go into things a little bit more. There's also what the company are bringing in, and Leon's working on with them, is a like a funnel system, and it's going to be run through Telegram. So it'll be an automated funnel system. People will, once they go into it, they'll be sent short little messages, videos, and ultimately your link at the end of the day to sign up. Everybody will be offered a gift, and that is available now, and that is actually in your back office. And what you do is you go to the your back office, you click on partner tools, which is in your back office, and you'll see something there that says 8 rules of wealth. That is the gift for you to give. You send your link, and it's the gift that you send to people to learn all about the 8 rules of wealth, for actually participating, watching a video. So you're giving something back to people. And once they've looked at that and they decide they want to be part of this, when they click on it to register, it's actually your link. So it's very clever how that's been done. So they are working on things, they are improving things. And to be perfectly honest, I just think we're in the right place at the right time with the right company. So thank you very much. Thanks to Rod for contribution. Thanks to Roy for his contribution as well. And we will sign off now and speak to you all soon. Thank you. Bye.